There comes a time in every life when silence feels heavier than words. When even breathing feels like effort, and the world around you moves on, while your heart is still standing in the same place where you lost someone. It could be the death of a loved one. It could be a breakup that shattered your soul. It could be a friend who walked away, or a family member who changed forever. Loss comes in many forms, but pain always feels the same. When you lose someone, you don't just lose a person. You lose a piece of yourself that you never thought you'd have to live without. Your mornings feel empty. Your nights feel endless. And every small thing reminds you of what you had, and what you no longer do. You don't cry because you're weak. You cry because your heart remembers, and your brain can't forget. Psychologists say that loss affects the human brain the same way physical injury does. When someone dies, or leaves you, your brain interprets it as danger, a kind of emotional wound. The same areas that react to physical pain, the anterior cingulate cortex and the insula, light up when we experience emotional pain. That's why heartbreak literally hurts. But here's the truth. Your brain is not just built to feel pain. It's built to heal it. Every time you cry, every time you remember, every time you talk about it, your brain is trying to reorganize itself around the new reality. It's saying, something changed, but I can still survive. That's how resilience begins, quietly, invisibly, deep inside the mind. After someone's loss, the first thing you feel is nothing. Shock. Numbness. Emptiness. You wake up and everything looks the same, but nothing feels the same. You still check your phone, expecting a message that won't come. You still look at the door, waiting for footsteps that will never return. That's the brain's survival mode, protecting you from the full impact. It freezes emotion to keep you functional. And that's okay. You're not broken. You're protecting yourself. The problem starts when we try to rush this process, when we say, I should move on, or I should be fine by now. No. You don't have to be fine today. You just have to breathe today. Healing doesn't start with strength. It starts with honesty. Then comes the anger. Anger at fate. At life. At the person who left. At yourself. You think, why did this happen? Why me? Why now? But anger is not your enemy. Anger is pain's loudest cry. It means your heart is trying to understand something your brain cannot explain. From a psychological perspective, anger releases trapped energy. It's the mind's way of fighting back, saying, I'm not ready to surrender. So don't suppress it. Let it out, but channel it. Write. Talk. Walk. Cry. But don't destroy yourself to punish the world. Because pain doesn't leave when you hurt yourself. It leaves when you understand yourself. There comes a point where you don't even feel angry anymore, just empty. You feel detached. Lost. As if you're watching your life from a distance. This is the stage where many people give up. But in truth, this is the stage where rebirth begins. Psychologically, when we lose someone we love deeply, our sense of identity collapses, because part of who we were was built around that person. Their absence leaves not just emotional pain, but a gap in who we are. This gap feels terrifying. But it's also sacred. Because now, you have a chance to rebuild yourself, not around someone else, but around your own soul. Standing up after someone's loss doesn't happen in a single day. It happens in small moments that don't look like progress. The morning you finally make your bed. The day you eat something without guilt. The moment you laugh, and then feel bad for laughing. That's not betrayal. That's healing. You're not forgetting them. You're remembering yourself. Grief isn't about moving on. It's about moving forward, carrying their memory with you, not as a chain, but as a light. Viktor Frankl, the famous psychologist who survived the Holocaust, said, When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. You cannot bring them back. But you can bring back meaning. Ask yourself, what did they teach me? What kind of person would make them proud? What lesson did their presence leave behind? Because every loss, no matter how painful, leaves behind a seed of wisdom. When you nurture that seed, that's when you start to grow again. Your healing begins the day you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What can this teach me?" Science calls it post-traumatic growth, when after pain, people become wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. Your brain literally rewires itself, creating new connections that make you emotionally more resilient. But growth doesn't look beautiful at first. It looks like crying in the dark. It looks like sitting alone and questioning your worth. It looks like surviving 1 hour at a time. But later, it becomes something extraordinary: empathy, strength, purpose. The way you talk to yourself after loss determines how fast you'll rise. Instead of saying, "I'll never be happy again," say, "I'm learning to be okay again." Instead of saying, "I lost everything," say, "I lost something precious, but I'm still alive to honor it." Self-compassion activates the same neural pathways as love. It literally calms your brain's threat response. So every kind word you say to yourself is not weakness, it's medicine. Forgiveness doesn't mean what happened was okay. It means you're done carrying the poison. When you don't forgive, your mind keeps reliving the wound. But when you do, your mind starts to release the burden. Letting go is not about forgetting. It's about accepting that the story can't be rewritten, but it can still have a beautiful ending. If you're watching this right now, and you're still in pain, you don't need to rush. You don't need to pretend you're fine. Healing is not loud. It's silent, slow, and sacred. But one day, you'll wake up, and the memory that once broke you will make you smile. Not because the pain is gone, but because you survived it. You'll realize, the loss didn't end your story. It just began a new chapter, where you are the main character. And this chapter will be your comeback. One morning, it happens quietly. You wake up, and something feels different. The pain is still there, but it doesn't control you anymore. You can finally breathe without breaking. That's the beginning of rebirth. You start noticing small things again: sunlight through the curtains, the sound of rain, the smell of coffee. For the first time in a long time, life doesn't look like punishment. It looks like possibility. Psychologically, this stage is called reconnection. It's when your mind begins to trust life again, when your nervous system slowly shifts from survival mode to creation mode. It's your soul whispering, "You can live again." You won't realize it at first. But every small step you take, cleaning your room, going for a walk, helping someone else, is rebuilding your sense of control. That's how healing works. Not through one big miracle, but through hundreds of quiet, invisible choices that slowly piece your heart back together. When you lose someone, a part of your purpose dies with them. You start asking, "What's the point now?" And that's the hardest question a human can face. But here's the truth. You don't need to find your purpose again. You need to create it. Your pain can become your new purpose. Because the same wound that breaks you can also teach you compassion, understanding, and strength that no one else around you has. Maybe your purpose is to help others heal. Maybe it's to live the kind of life the one you lost would be proud of. Or maybe it's just to wake up every day and keep going, because that alone is an act of courage. Purpose doesn't always look heroic. Sometimes it's simply refusing to let your pain define your destiny. From a psychological point of view, renewal happens when your brain forms new patterns, new meaning maps. Each time you do something positive, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of motivation. And slowly, these small sparks build a new emotional reality. You stop replaying the past. You start designing the future. That's not denial. That's evolution. You begin to realize, life isn't about what you lost, it's about what you can still become. One of the most powerful ways to stand again after loss is to help someone else stand. Psychologists call it altruistic healing, when you channel your pain into service. It doesn't erase your grief, but it transforms it. When you comfort someone who's crying, when you guide someone who feels lost, you unconsciously tell your own heart, "I still have something to give." And that sentence, "I still have something to give," is the most healing thought a broken soul can have. Your pain gains purpose when it becomes a bridge to another heart. You'll never erase their memory. And you don't have to. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering differently. In the beginning, memories stab. Later they warm. Eventually, they inspire. You'll look at their picture one day, and instead of breaking down, you'll whisper, "Thank you for being a part of my life story." Because love doesn't end when someone leaves, it just changes its form. It becomes invisible, but it never disappears. Every good memory becomes a quiet strength that lives inside you. After loss, people often ask, "How do I start again?" The answer is simple, one small step at a time. Start by waking up. Then make your bed. Then take a walk. Then talk to someone. Then do one thing, just one, that brings a spark of peace. Your healing will not be a straight line. Some days you'll feel strong. Some days you'll fall apart. But remember, healing doesn't mean never breaking again. It means breaking and still choosing to rebuild. That's the difference between pain and growth. Even after trauma, the human brain remains wired for hope. Neuroscientists have found that the hippocampus, the part of your brain that processes memory, can grow new neurons, even after extreme emotional pain. That means you're biologically designed to recover. No matter how shattered you feel, your mind is trying, right now, to heal itself. Every time you visualize a better tomorrow, you're literally rewiring your brain toward hope. So keep imagining the life you want, even if it feels impossible. Your brain listens to your imagination. Your cells respond to your belief. Hope is not a feeling, it's a biological signal that life is still inside you. Every loss carries a gift, not the kind you wanted, but the kind you needed to grow. Loss teaches you what truly matters. It strips away illusions. It forces you to meet the deepest version of yourself. Before pain, you were living. After pain, you begin understanding. The storm doesn't just destroy, it also reveals. It shows you who stands with you, who disappears, and who you become when everything is gone. That understanding is the foundation of real strength. Because you can rebuild a life, but wisdom like that, only pain can give. Acceptance doesn't mean you're happy about what happened. It means you stop fighting what can't be changed. It's like standing in the middle of the rain. You stop running, stop hiding, and finally let it wash over you. That's when you start to breathe again. When you accept, your energy stops being trapped in the past, and starts flowing back into the present. Your body relaxes. Your emotions stabilize. Your soul opens. Acceptance is peace, not because everything is fine, but because you've made peace with what isn't. Every scar you carry is proof that pain tried to destroy you, and failed. It's not your weakness. It's your strength in disguise. Psychology calls this cognitive reframing, when you change the story around your pain. Instead of saying, "This broke me," you say, "This built me." And suddenly your brain begins to treat the same memory differently, less as trauma, more as transformation. That's the real power of standing up again, not forgetting what happened, but redefining what it means. If you could speak to the one you lost right now, what would you say? Maybe you'd say, "I miss you." Maybe you'd say, "I'm trying my best." Maybe you'd just whisper, "Thank you for everything." Say it. Even if they can't hear you, your heart can. Closure isn't something others give you. It's something you give yourself, by saying the words your soul has been holding back. When you go through deep loss, you don't come out as the same person. And that's okay. You're not meant to. You'll laugh differently. You'll think deeper. You'll love slower, but more sincerely. You become someone who understands pain, and therefore understands life. The version of you that walks out of this darkness will not be the old you. It will be wiser, softer, stronger, and far more real. You didn't just lose someone. You found yourself. Standing up after loss doesn't mean your life will go back to how it was. It means it will become something new, something shaped by love, pain, and growth. You'll start dreaming again, not because you forgot them, but because you finally remembered you're still here. Your future is not an insult to your past. It's a continuation of their legacy, lived through you. So go out there. Do the things you always said you'd do. Love the way you wish they could have seen. Live the way they would have wanted you to. Because the best tribute to the ones we lose is not sadness. It's becoming everything they believed we could be. In therapy, there's a concept called integration. It means your brain doesn't delete painful memories. It simply integrates them into your life story. They become a chapter, not the ending. That's what standing up after loss truly means. Not erasing the pain, not pretending it never happened, but learning to walk with it, until it no longer feels heavy. Pain will always whisper, but peace will start to sing louder. And one day, you'll realize, you didn't just survive. You transformed. If you're listening to this right now, that means you made it through another day. And that alone is enough. You may still cry sometimes. You may still miss them. But you're still here, and that means your story isn't over. Life didn't take them away to punish you. It took them away to prepare you, to awaken something sacred inside you. So stand tall. Wipe your tears. And whisper to yourself, I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I'm still becoming. Because one day, someone will look at you and say, you're the reason I didn't give up. And in that moment, you'll understand. Your pain had a purpose all along. You were never broken. You were being rebuilt.